Hi, how you doing? I'm Dave.
I'm Tyler. We are from the band Theory of a Deadman.
Hail and well met, fan of loud music. I'm Lou Brutus, and this is Hard Drive Online.
Gasoline was our second record. It came out in 2005, so about 2004, we started working on it, and it was, we honestly were trying to find a producer. We couldn't figure out who we wanted to produce the record. And this guy named Howard Benson was interested, and he was flying up to Vancouver, and we met him at the airport. We didn't even know what he looked like.
Yeah.
We thought he was going to be this guy with tats.
We thought he maybe looked like Rick Rubin, big beard.
Big beard,
So,
like long hair.
everybody that we saw too would be like, that's got to be him.
There.
That's him. They just walk right by. Like,
And then this guy that looked like he was from, the professor from some college comes out, he's like, hello, I'm Howard Benson. He had glasses and he's
track pants.
track pants. We're like, oh. And then he came and watched us play, and we played like half of a song, and he stopped us because he said we sounded so terrible. And he's like, just play some demos. So we played some demos on a ghetto blaster. And he's like, all right. And then he wanted to do the record. That was, I don't know if that was my fondest memory, but that was my first memory of making that record.
See, to me, Gasoline was like such a pivotal point in our band's career, and I loved recording our first record, but it was so weird because we were so new to it. Everything was happening fast, so it wasn't almost like you sat and enjoyed it. It was like a different aspect doing your first one. So when we did the second record, for me it just felt like a new beginning almost, which was weird because it was only our second record, but it felt like this new fresh start, and we recorded the record in Los Angeles as opposed to doing it in Vancouver where we did our first record. So it was really a strange environment. It felt more real to me. Like doing the first record almost didn't even seem real. It felt like just a daydream. And so doing Gasoline was just such a cool, real situation. We were in the studio. Even just being in LA, the studio felt better or something. I don't know what the deal
vibe
was.
was better.
Yeah, so everything, that record just, to me, it felt like Theory of a Deadman really developed our sound on that record. So it was a really cool experience going in the studio and recording that record.
I was friends with his girlfriend more than I didn't really know him. At that point, this was in the 90s, it's a long time ago. So Chad was he was in a band. They were kind of touring Canada a little bit. I think they started doing some stuff in the States. And so I would see him, I think I saw him maybe 2 or 3 times. I went snowboarding one time. I went and watched his band play at this bar. There was maybe 200 people there. So it was just like, oh, Tyler's in a band, you should give Chad your demo and stuff. So back then I had, I really enjoyed recording music, but we never played anywhere. There wasn't a lot of motivation on our end. It was just like, yeah, we're in a band, I don't know. So
There wasn't a lot of motivation to go play a bunch of crappy shows for 50 of your friends.
Yeah, we weren't really interested in that. We did it. We went and did
do a few.
the shows, and yeah.
That's why there was no motivation.
Your 30 friends show up and your parents, and it's kind of like, what are we doing? So it was perfect because you get the demo, and he was just like, he called and said, hey man, I want to start my own label. He was very motivated at that time. It was very early in their career. This was before they blew up. This was probably back in, like I said, late 90s, 2000. And then we were like, okay. He's like, tonight, let's go. I want to, you guys want to record a demo with you guys so I can send the labels. And then it would happen really fast. We recorded 3 songs, and he started this label called 604 Records with his lawyer. They signed us too, and which ended up becoming an imprint of Roadrunner Records in the States, which picked us up, and it just kind of happened really fast.
Saving lives.
It's a firefighter.
I used to work actually in fire protection, so of course these guys always make the joke that I'm a firefighter, but I was
Obviously
actually
not.
the first line of defense. The firefighters only get called when the stuff I work on fails. So I'd be servicing sprinkler systems and fire extinguishers and fire hydrants and all that stuff that saves lives.
So now we go in every building we go into, I'm like, Dave, what's that thing? It's like, oh, that's a bypass pipe, or that's the main. Yeah, what would happen if I turned that?
The only question he asks is, dirty water in there? I'm like, yes, dirty water.
Because you always see movies where the sprinklers goes off and they're covered in water, and Dave's like, that would never happen. The water would black and rust and dirt, and I'm like,
At least the first minute and a half of it would be.
Anyways, on to what I did. I was a professional glazier. It's a good job, though. I got my card, whatever they call it. It was a trade, my journeyman, whatever they call it, card. So, I don't know, like, we had real jobs. We weren't the musicians. When I see musicians, they're like living at home and they don't have jobs because they're going to make it. It annoys me. I'm like, go get a job.
When you make it,
yeah.
quit.
And then when you make it, quit.
It feels so good to quit.
Yeah, exactly. Then you get to quit, which is fun.
It's weird because sometimes you'll think back and you're like, it feels like that was just yesterday. It's 8 years ago. What? And then other times you'll be like, it was just yesterday. You're like, it feels like 8 years ago.
Yeah, it's weird. It is. There's definitely certain things that feel like 14 years ago. The fact that we're all getting older, and I'm doing a lot of old man stuff. I'm starting to see my father.
We're starting to see your father in you as well.
But still loving. I think I actually love doing this more now. I think when we started out, like, it was weird. Like, we would go tour, and a lot of people get such a terrible vibe from me. Like, Dave would have to go and defend me because, like, oh, your singer's a jerk and he's a dick and all this stuff. And Dave would be like, no, he's not.
Like, hey, he's just misunderstood.
And I was so misunderstood. I don't know. I just now it's just I don't know. I feel like
touring's
more
tough when
free,
you're
yeah.
balancing like your relationship and a lot of family stuff, or that's what makes touring really tough on you, is that if you have another life that's being put on hold behind you. So that's probably why you have so much fun now, is you have no other life.
This is my life now.
This is your only
and
life.
I go home and I'm like, when's the next tour start? And then we just go golfing.
Yeah, exactly. Good road stories. Oh man, they usually involve wacky fans.
But yeah, you're right. It all involves fans. There's always just some crazy fan that would. One chick was hitching a ride in the back of a bus for a few shows or something.
We were out with a band. It was way back in the day. It must have been Submersed or something. A band called Submersed. And they were driving in front of us, I guess, with their bus and trailer, and they'd be the big caravans. All the bands would travel together. And I guess they took an off-ramp to go to a truck stop. And when they took the off-ramp, our driver saw some girl go flying off and roll into the ditch or something like that.
Yeah.
And so they full on called the police and everything, and it turned out she'd been riding the trailer.
To each show.
The trailer between the buses of the bands from show to show, because we would see her at every show and be like, 700 miles.
Right.
We just drove to get here.
It's a long
How'd you
road
get
trip.
here? She'd be there in the morning wearing the same clothes. What the hell?
She was riding on the back of a bus
For
at
hours.
night.
For hours. She just
she came to the next show and she was.
We just called the police and we're like, get this crazy girl out of here. Anyways, now that there's Snapchat, I'm back in contact with her.
That's true. And she did contact me about a child that could be mine. We have some weird, one day a crew guy brought this chick on the bus. We did a Halloween show in Florida. Guavaween it was called years ago. I think it was with Seven Dust. And one of our crew guys brought some crazy chick and she had a bullet hole paint on her forehead. She thought I was some lawyer or something. She was on some sort of drugs. And
I remember because she wouldn't share.
That's right. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a lawyer. She's like, I hate lawyers. I'm like, yeah, get off our bus. And she wouldn't leave, and they had to take 3 or 4 guys, and she was like, and holding on to doors. So they had to rip her off the bus, and then she went and laid underneath the tire of the bus, refused to get out because we were trying to leave. And she's like, take me with you. And I was just like, drive, roll over. Yeah.
And we forget how that story ended, but apparently it was a court date.
That's why we haven't played any Florida shows lately. We were at the BMI Awards in LA accepting an award for one of our songs.
Seems like it happens every other weekend.
Yeah, I don't know what
Anyway.
weekend. So they had a red carpet thing, and they have all these people there or whatever. And was it me and you or me and Dean?
It was you and Dean, because I watched the whole thing unfold. It was amazing. I had the best perspective.
So they have a red carpet, but they have the backdrop. What do you call that?
Pipe and drape.
Pipe and drape behind it, and it had the whatever the people's names on it, the companies that Dorsey's or whatever. Yeah, and me and Dean were doing an interview on the red carpet, and we were talking to some lady, and all of a sudden they were like, "Excuse me," in the middle of the interview, stop. Taylor Swift was coming by. They're like, Taylor. So of course, she's more important than us. We stepped aside, I guess she was with her mom.
But they only wanted 2 of us for the interview too, which is why there were 4 of us were there. But it was really a crowded little area, and this is why it happened. I was like, okay, it's you 2, and I walked out to a safe area, and I just kind of watched. And then it was Joe who tried to avoid everybody.
Joe said that I guess when Taylor came in, I guess like give her some space. I guess he said that Taylor Swift's mom
pushed him or something.
Pushed Joe out of the way, and we didn't know, but all of a sudden the whole pipe and drape, 30 or 50 feet of it comes crashing down on top of people.
Oh yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, what's going on? And we're like, what's going on? And me and Dean were like, I didn't touch anything.
It was us. The best was that Joe didn't even know either. Like it was like he was taking it down and the whole thing was crumbling behind him, and I was watching him walk and the thing just falling behind him. He's just walking out of the way, and he got down to me and I'm like, dude, you just tore the whole thing down. He's like, what? I watched him, she like nudged him or something, and he stepped on the curtain. It did something, but it just swayed, and then he just kept going and the whole thing just came down.
And and then so afterwards, we met up with you guys at the bar, and you're like, yeah, it was Joe. You're like, it was Joe. And we're like, Joe, what do you mean? It's like, Joe knocked the whole thing down. It was Joe. We're like, oh my God, I'm surprised we didn't get kicked out of there. Don't worry, we still got our award. And Taylor, you're welcome. My number is still the same. So it's weird you haven't replied to my text.
That same night, though, oddly enough, it was pretty strange that a room full of music people, they were honoring John Fogerty.
Lifetime Achievement Award.
He was up there with his band and his kids playing like a 10-song set. And everybody in their suits, they all got up and left.
Yeah, all the label people got up and left, and we were like, what? So we went up there and watched the whole set, 5 feet from him, and then afterwards we walked up on stage.
A few other bands kind of, like once we got there, they started coming
figured
around.
It out.
So.
Got to meet him and his family.
They thanked us. A couple of the band guys are like, thanks for coming over. Those shows are stiff.
Oh
like,
yeah, it's not something you want to play,
like, it's going to be tough. So that was a good night. Good all-around night. Fogerty, Taylor Swift. Yeah, it's nice. See you guys later.
Thanks a lot for watching the interview with Theory of a Deadman. If you want to see more interviews and live performances, just subscribe. You'll get tons of great content. But if that's too much for you, then you should download the official hardDrive Radio app, where you'll get interviews, live performances, and rants streamed straight to your phone with exclusive content. Until next time, I'm Lou Brutus. I'll see you around.